In 2017, Austrian Vice-Chancellor Heinz-Christian Strache met with Johann Gudenus, the deputy leader of the Austrian Freedom Party. Oddly, Gudenus assured Strache that the meeting was not a trap. When you have to say that, you can safely assume the meeting is, in fact, a trap. But that didn't stop anybody. Gudenus attended several prior meetings with a powerful woman claiming familial ties to a Russian oligarch. He believed he could trust her. Strache, according to Gudenus, was suspicious until he got through the first meeting. The Russian woman asked the two Austrian politicians to meet her in Ibiza, an island off the east coast of Spain. Ibiza is known for its vibrant club scene, white sands, and crystal Mediterranean beaches. It's the perfect playground for anyone looking to get away from everyday life, and an excellent place for two parties to meet without anyone getting suspicious. Strache reluctantly flew to Ibiza with Gudenus. Along with an interpreter, they met the woman inside a rented villa. The woman welcomed Strache and Gudenus and offered them plenty to drink. With some help from Gudenus, who speaks a little Russian, the woman told Strache that she wanted political favors from his administration and the Freedom Party, which Strache led as chairman. She explained that these political favors would come in the form of public contracts for her family's business. In exchange for these contracts, the woman would buy 50% of Kronen Zeitung. This popular tabloid published articles supporting the leftist parties of Austria. More importantly, they published negative pieces against Strache and his right-wing party. It was a classic I scratch your back, you scratch my back situation. The Russian oligarchs wanted a greased pathway to investing in Austria. Government contracts are easy and stable ways for companies to make money. However, so-called easy money is never really easy. The Russian woman knew this and offered to help Strache achieve his goal of protecting the Freedom Party from bad press coverage. It would be like making a shady deal with Joe Biden to buy out Fox News or a deal with Donald Trump to buy out CNN. Strache, intoxicated by the alcohol and nicotine, recklessly delved deeper into what he wanted the oligarchs to do. He listed several journalists he wanted fired from Kronen Zeitung. These journalists are known for their attacks on far-right politicians such as Strache. He also suggested a few right-wing journalists who could replace them. If the left-wing writers were knocked from their platform and replaced with right-wing writers, Strache believed the Freedom Party could defeat its liberal rivals. He even claimed that taking over Kronen Zeitung would boost the Freedom Party's support by 34%, though it's unclear where he pulled that number. Overall, Strache said he wanted to build a media landscape like Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban did in his country. Orban, however, is known for his authoritarian leadership. Strache would never say anything like this in public, but at the time, he didn't know cameras and microphones were recording every word he said. The footage mysteriously fell into the hands of two media outlets, Der Spiegel and Süddeutsche Zeitung. Their journalists, unaware of who or why someone sent them the video, examined the 6 hours worth of secret footage. They were blown away when Strache casually brought up Kronen Zeitung. In May 2019, they immediately spread the controversial content anywhere they could. Soon enough, the news went viral. Everyone from Pulitzer Prize-winning journalists to talk show hosts talked about Strache and his Freedom Party. The Freedom Party was in shambles. Their two highest-ranking members had resigned, and their coalition with the People's Party was effectively over. The coalition was supposed to unite the People's Party, a center-right party, and the Freedom Party, a far-right-wing organization. However, after the Freedom Party collapsed, so did the People's Party. Sebastian Kurz, Austria's chancellor, was the head of the People's Party. He did not resign at first, but the other Austrian government leaders voted no confidence against him, equivalent to impeachment in the United States. Just like that, the Austrian government lost its two most influential leaders, and the government collapsed. But within all the chaos, no one knew who orchestrated the secret filming of Vice-Chancellor Strache. The Russian woman was obviously not related to any oligarchs, though she didn't appear to be the mastermind behind the sting operation. So who was responsible? Strache, after his resignation, vowed to legally punish the people who secretly recorded him. Other Austrian officials shared the same sentiment. A massive investigation uncovered a few different suspects. The main person that kept coming up was a German man named Julian Hessenthaler. A couple of other individuals were thought to be involved. Still, Hessenthaler was pegged as the main whistleblower. In late 2020, Hessenthaler was arrested in Germany and quickly deported to Austria. Authorities still aren't sure exactly how involved he was in the video's production, but they are certain he had a hand in releasing the content to Austrian media. Hessenthaler was a private investigator before he became a government-toppling whistleblower. He's essentially a journalistic hero. 15 non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, including Reporters Without Borders and Amnesty International, supported Hessenthaler while condemning the Austrian government for criminalizing whistleblowing. The NGOs also argue that Hessenthaler is legally protected under the Austrian freedom of expression laws. The only reason he's behind bars is because of trumped-up drug charges. Nevertheless, Strache got his wish, even if he didn't have any part in prosecuting Hessenthaler. Strache, of course, was not allowed to prosecute anyone since he was being prosecuted for corruption. Strache wasn't your run-of-the-mill politician. He was born in 1969 and didn't get elected to any political office until 2001 when he was 32. Before that, Strache worked as a dental technician. However, Strache was always interested in politics, even in his early 20s. He started involving himself in politics at 22, often taking a more nationalistic stance on current issues, buzzing through Vienna, the capital of Austria. The media always claimed that Strache was a disciple of Jörg Haider, the former right-wing leader of the Freedom Party. Strache lived up to these claims and followed in Haider's footsteps. In 2004, Strache was named the new leader of the Freedom Party, replacing Hilmar Kabis. He also opposed and ousted his alleged former mentor and became the leading voice for his party. There was even a rumor that Strache was planning to run against Haider's sister for control of the National Party. To get out of Strache's way, Haider left the National Party and started his own party. Strache did indeed take over the National Party in January of 2005, solidifying his place as one of the loudest far-right voices in Austria. He used his voice to run for parliament in 2000 and other offices throughout the 2000s and 2010s. Strache ran on an anti-immigration platform, basing his conservative stance on nationalistic interests. Put another way, Strache and his constituents put Austrian interests first, at least the Austria they preferred, which did not include Muslim immigrants. Their campaign slogan, Pumerin instead of Muisen, exemplifies their anti-Muslim immigration sentiments. Pumerin is a church bell in St. Stephen Cathedral in Vienna and a powerful Christian symbol for anyone who lives in Austria. A muezzin is a Muslim man who calls out prayer times throughout the day. Nowadays, mosques have loudspeakers that call out prayer schedules. Another slogan reads, Daheim statt Islam. In German, the phrase basically means native Austrians yes, foreign Muslims no. A third slogan reads, speak German instead of I don't understand. It probably won't surprise you that the Freedom Party was founded by former Nazis in the 1950s. There's a photograph of Strache supposedly giving a salute. However, he vehemently denies the accusation, claiming he was ordering a beer. While the claims are difficult to prove, there most likely is no doubt that Strache is a staunch nationalist. While in power, Strache sought relationships with other nationalistic leaders like former American President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Strache scheduled a visit to New York after Trump won the presidency in 2016. Then Vice-Chancellor met Trump's national security advisor Michael Flynn at the top of the Trump Tower. Strache's intentions were simple: gain like-minded foreign allies for the Freedom Party. Since his party was domestically focused, they lacked foreign partners like other parties did. But that wasn't the only reason. Strache also wanted to make Austria a bridge between Russia and the United States. He saw two mighty governments that could grow stronger if they worked together instead of fighting all the time. That's why Strache traveled to Russia the same year to forge a working agreement with Putin's United Russia Party. He traveled with fellow far-right Austrian politician Norbert Hofer, who provided some extra support in convincing the United Russia Party to cooperate with America. Sure enough, United Russia posted that they'd cut a deal with Strache on their website. Strache expressed interest in lifting economic sanctions on Russia brought on from their invasion of Crimea. Strache's successful negotiations ended abruptly when the Ibiza videos dominated the headlines. For his crimes, Strache received 15 months probation but no jail time. This seems like a weak sentence for the man who offered to sell part of Austria to a Russian oligarch. Of course, there's a reason for this absurdly light sentence. First of all, the media didn't show the whole video. Strache actually rejected the Russian woman's offer, so he technically never committed a crime. Instead, Strache was convicted of a different, completely unrelated crime. As IbizaGate swept Austria, the government launched an investigation into Strache and the Freedom Party. If Strache was that close to accepting a corrupt deal, then there are probably some deals he did end up taking. Sure enough, the Austrian officials found enough and indicted Strache on bribery. The charge accused Strache of accepting a $13,000 bribe from Walter Grubmüller, the proprietor of a large nursing home in Vienna. Grubmüller wanted Strache to sponsor a bill that benefited medical institutions like his, so he donated money to Strache, who accepted the check and promised Grubmüller he'd support the bill. Strache was tried and convicted of bribery on August 27, 2021. He vowed to appeal the ruling after his conviction, though we'll have to see if Strache appeals successfully. The former Vice-Chancellor is a determined individual. It's unlikely he will retire completely from politics. In fact, he ran for office mere months after his 2019 resignation. In 2020, Strache founded a new political party called Team HC Strache Alliance for Austria and 3 former members of the nearly dissolved Freedom Party. He tried running for a seat in parliament. Strache thought that his former voter base would support him despite IbizaGate. However, when election day arrived, Strache and his Alliance for Austria party members did not earn a single seat. Click here to watch one of these next videos, and let us know in the comments section where you would rather go party, Ibiza or Las Vegas.